in which a stakeholder may exercise its legal rights under the Companies Act. However, CMA through advocate Zul Alibai urged the court to maintain the status quo, saying the authority has a right to investigate the issues first before any meeting is held. Zul said the petitioner allegedly defrauded the company. The case will be heard again on November 9th.
And the wrangles between the management and the shareholders between CMC Motors continues, and we'll keep on updating you right here on Business Defined. As well, the International Monetary Fund has lowered Kenya's growth projections for 2011 by 3 basis points to 5%. The fund says that high inflation and the drought that ravaged the country early this year have dimmed growth margins. IMF Chief of Mission to Kenya, Domenico Faniza, says a combination of external shocks and strong domestic demand has led to a sharp inflationary pressures, a widening of the current account deficit and the depreciation of the shilling, making it harder for the country to achieve the projected growth. Policymakers in the country, the regional economic powerhouse, have these years struggled to tame rampant consumer inflation and defend the battered local shilling while maintaining a pro-growth strategy. This has proved to be a Herculean task since they have failed on the 3 targets. Headline inflation rose for the 10th month in a row to 18.9% in October.
The combination of external shocks and the strength of the domestic demand has translated into a widening current account deficit of the balance of payment, and which has in turn put pressures on the Kenyan shilling.
IMF says due to the volatile Kenyan unit and the drought that hit the country for the better part of this year, causing widespread power rationing, it is cutting GDP growth projections by 3 basis points to 5% this year.
Private sector credit has been accelerating and is the main reason why vigorous domestic demand has placed pressures on the balance of payment.
The fund is also warning that inflation is likely to remain a headache for central bank unless the bank institute further monetary tightening measures. Domenico says IMF expects inflation to remain above 17% mark this year, way above its earlier projection of 7%. Treasury and the Ministry of Planning have been fronting different economic projections for 2011. Treasury believes that the economy will grow by 5.7%, while the Ministry of Planning has cut this to 4.2%.
This ultimately will reduce the country's vulnerability to droughts and reliance on expensive oil imports. So this is another way in which we can we can start addressing this structural imbalance between exports and imports.
The Washington-based body gave the green light to a $250 million top-up to a $500 million extended credit facility pending full board approval next month in Washington. The team that jetted into the country 2 weeks ago has been busy reviewing the country's macroeconomic conditions before it released the second tranche of the $500 million extended credit facility signed by the government and the fund in February this year. The question is, whose figures will carry the day? Is it the IMF, the Treasury, or even the Ministry of Planning? Well, KenGen has received 22 million shillings in the form of carbon credits in its first clean development mechanism project. KenGen's managing director, Edward Jeroge, says for the project to continue reaping benefits, policies that support carbon emissions reductions should be formulated to overcome challenges in the project. Proceeds from the project will benefit communities through implementation of social projects.
Kenya is among 191 countries that signed and agreed to the Kyoto Protocol in 2005 to fight the global challenge towards climate change in the world. However, little effort has been made in the Clean Development Mechanism project. KenGen is reaping big from the project as it has recorded a profit of 22 million shillings from the first Clean Development Mechanism sale.
It is important to know that really there is no turning back. Climate mitigation must be done. One of the ways of doing this is really through developing projects using a CDM project. Carbon credits are a reality despite the pitfalls we may have encountered along the way.
According to KenGen's Managing Director Edward Njoroge, Kenya has a lot of potential and opportunities in the carbon market, as carbon credit has even become a source of income to the extent of reducing public debts.
We at KenGen today have started reaping some benefits. Indeed, we received about 2 months ago the first $225,000, about $22 million Kenya shillings, from our first CDM projects.
Entering into carbon sale project came with its numerous challenges that include inadequate technical and managerial capacity, access to finance and regulatory framework. In order to overcome the challenges, Njoroge has called on the private sector to come on board to help in tapping the full potential available in the carbon market, as other countries are doing so with the sole purpose of promoting investment in renewable energy. KenGen has also established a CDM center to promote carbon trading in the country.
We expect this KenGen center to work collaboratively with organizations like ACX in bringing together sellers and buyers of carbon credits.
Linda Mbaisi, Business Defined.
Welcome back. You're watching Business Defined. Now, globalization has been termed as the biggest challenge in SME businesses today. While Uchumi Supermarket Chief Executive Jonathan Siano says the current economic crisis that has hit developed countries is making it hard for small and medium businesses to break even. He was speaking during the NIC Bank Entrepreneur Workshop that seeks to help entrepreneurs in the country survive in a difficult working environment.
Area. It is even serious. When the US goes down, everybody was in the grave. So this is the kind of thing about your business. Don't imagine you're going to be excluded from anybody else, but you're going to have it in that form. The other one, of course, I got to say is corporate reporting. You have frauds. I have a number of people who have started supermarkets in Kenya. They are able to operate them, although they are still starting to operate. They are dead business-wise. Because fraud is very difficult to manage if you don't have the right environment. Improving business performance, how do you do it? Not by bribing, of course, and not by getting guys on the getter. It is actually getting out there and understanding how do you touch the heart of the customers.
And now Timothy Gitonga is the head of business banking at the NIC Bank. And now he joins us on Business Defined to discuss more issues or some of the challenges facing the NIC or some of the challenges facing the entrepreneur segment in the Kenyan market. Thank you very much, team, for joining us on Business Defined. That is the question. What are some of the key challenges facing entrepreneurs in the Kenyan segment?
Thank you very much. I think to start with, traditionally we've been told that the SME do not have adequate funding. And as a result, they cannot be able to take their growth objective beyond the 5-year period that has always been seen as the doom period. But when you look at it, it's not really more of funding that is the challenge, but is how does an entrepreneur take his vision to go ahead of him? And all we found is that while the funding will be there, money, you can give money as much as is available. In actual sense, you find that they will not survive because more of money that you pump in, the more they make long decisions. So as a way of NIC trying to support growth of entrepreneurs, we found that there's a gap in terms of capacity. To say, let's empower them by bringing in best practices and sharing ideas with entrepreneurs because they are able to smell opportunities. If they don't have adequate capacity to actualize those opportunities, then you find that they are unable to make their dream come true. So I would say the biggest challenge is how to perpetuate your dream, and that goes causing for capacity building to ensure you are able to take up opportunities as they come in the environment and whitewash any challenge or threat that it may be there in the environment.
But I mean, why? Well, many factors or many excuses have been given why most startups fail to make it within the first 5 years. So, as the NIC Bank, where are you coming in?
First, we've actually determined that as a major obstacle. And how we've come in is by bringing experts from various spheres of influence, people who have hit the road in the past and successfully finished the journey, to share best practices. If you think, for example, the times that we are living at the moment, the challenges are there is that the exchange rate is always high, the Kenya shilling has depreciated substantially, the interest rate environment is a little bit uncomfortable. How then can entrepreneurs ensure their business weather all these challenges? That's how we come in as NIC to empower them so that even amidst all these crowds, they can be able to, go beyond the horizon and identify opportunities that lay across the divide.
I'm very sure you have come across, probably you have come across these statistics which have been fronted by many analysts who are saying that most of the startups are not going to survive, or 30% of the startups are not going to survive the current economic hardship. What do you make of that comment?
Well, that has its credibility, but I'll tell you one thing. One of the hardest challenges that most entrepreneurs face is what solution to apply when. For example, during the property boom, you found that an entrepreneur is doing a fantastic business, his cash flows are good, but in the neighborhood he finds a who is selling the plot. And he thinks, I can expand my business or I can buy the plot for speculation. What does he do? He goes to his business, gets cash flow out of the system, and buys a plot. Now, what that does is actually to remove the brand from the system. And because that brand is not available to nourish the various organs, then the business is unlikely to prosper. Now, if that happens in a time like now, because you find when things are hand, opportunities do come for those who have resources. If you take away money from your cash flow, you are actually hurting the business. So we are telling them, one, let's apply the right tool for the right job. We will help you. If you identify an opportunity, come along. We'll work with you, because one of the things we say, we are partners in this journey.
Well, many people, the word entrepreneur, the spelling has been gotten right, but the meaning is somehow misplaced. Is Mama Boga the one who sells vegetables at your local neighborhood kiosk? Can she qualify to be called an entrepreneur?
Absolutely. When you think about it, she has risked some capital to buy the goods, whatever merchandise she's selling. She would have had another option of maybe investing that money, even if it's in 100 shares of a listed company. But she chose to invest in the bogas that we are talking about. Now, by the virtue of the fact that she has the courage to invest in that boga business, by the virtue of the fact that she overlooked other options that are available, makes her an entrepreneur. And what is more today is what is going to be big tomorrow. If you look at all the leading companies today, local companies perhaps listed in the stock exchange, they started small.
They started as a small company.
I'll give you an example. We had the opportunity to invite Mr. Bharat Thakra, the CEO of Scanad Group, to come and speak to our entrepreneurs. And he told them he started small, and it's been a journey. So if you dream, you must dream big. That's the idea. And that is what we are encouraging our entrepreneurs to do, because we're going to give them tools to enable them perpetuate their dream.
Mr. Gitonga, as NIC Bank, why do you want to take entrepreneurship in this country? What level do you want to take this?
One of the things we have told our entrepreneurs, first of all, we want to give them an fair advantage in the marketplace. So if you operate in a specific segment and you are an NIC entrepreneur, we'll give you all the tools that you need to be ahead of the pack. So we want to see a number of entrepreneurs listed in the stock exchange, both locally, regionally, and perhaps globally. And one of the things we are doing is we are giving them targets. We say, this year you performed up to this much.